All right, another episode of Journey with Michael and Ryan. Thank you very much for listening. As always, it's how I open up every podcast, just because we're so very grateful for every single person that you are listening to us.
Yes, we are.
Super
Super grateful.
Yeah. And this week we're going to talk about something that we both know very well, the fitness industry. It's a huge... It'd be one of the biggest following trends online, wouldn't it? Like fitness influencers and different people like that, and because there's a very huge imagery attached to it as well, and it can lead to lots of different comparisons and all that sort of things. And then there's products and different services sold on that fear of inadequacy that can try and help you change or whatever it is. So I think today we'll just dive into some of the trends that we've seen. We've gone through some, and let's just pull out some ones that are more healthy than others, maybe not so healthy, maybe on the toxic side as well. And let's just give our 2 cents worth.
Yeah, totally, man. And we can go into products, we can go into supplements, understanding even just detoxification and fasting and the utilization of that, and just sort of busting some of the myths that are out there, because it's confusing. When it comes to health and well-being, it's confusing because there's so many different routes that you can take, and everyone's journey is unique, but quite often we get lumped in a box because that's essentially what makes it easier for people in marketing and even the psychology of it. Like, even when it comes to the different diets and the different ways of eating, polarity wins. Like, having a strong opinion on something wins because people want to be part of something. You can see it even in the explosion of the carnivore diet or the vegan diet or the paleo diet. All of these different diets and way of eating have gone through their own cycles. They've gone through this idea of being the best way of eating, and then someone comes out with new information and tries to, debunk that way of eating or that way of living or even that way of training, and tries to say this is the best. And I think that's a red flag when if you are following someone or they are saying that this is the only way, I am the only source of information, this is the best, and that's for me, that's a certainly a red flag to be like, okay, I don't need to really absorb everything and move into it full-heartedly, just because how you want to live is learning lots of different things that work for you and piecing it together for your life. Now, if one type of ideology works better for you, great, no worries. It's all about how you feel at the end of the day, and what's your wellness structure like. And for most people, their health and wellness journey is going to be a journey of self-discovery. It's about figuring out and finding what works for you. So at the start, it might be trialing many different things to figure out how you react and you respond in your nervous system, your adrenals, your hormones, how they all balance around different ways of moving, different ways of eating. And that's where it becomes hard and challenging for people, because people don't have the knowledge, they don't really have the time for knowledge, and quite often they'll outsource that to someone else.
I think all those kind of diets, the original one was the Atkins, wasn't it, really? And then that came from the Judaism, the Jewish faith, really, of not eating pork and fasting, and it kind of it's cool looking at the origins of something, right? And that's kind of how that moved forward from there. I'm very thankful I'm my age now in this day and age, and not a lot younger of when I first started on my fitness journey, because there's so many conflicting messages out there. Even I get confused sometimes. I'm like, look at this, look at that, oh wow, what I'm doing is wrong. But I think the fundamentals will always be the fundamentals.
Always.
If you're looking to lose some body fat, it's calories in versus output of what you're doing. I think just movement every day is a strategy to impart on. Not weighing yourself every day, I think, is a good metric as well. And then just, as we say in our state change program, it's 80%, 20%, 80% whole foods, 20% soul foods. And not getting too stuck. And we're not talking about the ends of the spectrum if you are an athlete, or if you are specifically training for something and you have specific dietary and movement strategies for that. That's kind of not what we're talking about here.
Or even if you're trying to overcome a specific condition.
Yeah.
You know, there's specific diets that you can utilize to support, you know, digestive conditions like SIBO, LIBO, dysbiosis, you know, undergrowth of good bacteria. You know, if you've got adrenal fatigue, there's specific ways that you want to be eating. If you're trying to detoxify your liver, there might be specific ways. Or if you have fatty liver disease, or if you have heart disease, like if you have a specific condition, there might be a protocol that you need to follow, but it's merely a protocol. You know, it's merely something or a way of eating that's going to support your body and give it the specific nutrients it needs to enhance a specific mechanism in the body.
Yeah, and I think the zealotness of particular ideologies, I think can get very, very toxic. You know, and I think that's very intrusive on people, like, you know, and they all have them. You know, you got your vegan zealots, you got your carnivore zealots, you've got your, you know, Liver King was a great example of that.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, but like, again, behind all of that was just ultimate lies of performance enhancing drugs.
Yeah, just so that they could sell a product. He was essentially just a marketing strategy for a supplement company. Yeah, and they just found him, they picked him, and was like, all right, this is the supplement. We're going to put your brand all over it, and let's just create some viral content around you.
Yeah, and it's super sad. Like, I think it's super disappointing, is probably the better word, when these, you know, air quote influencers now, I mean, let's call them influencers because they do have sway over people's lives.
The influence?
They have influence over their lives, yeah, correct. You know, like, it's super disappointing when it's built off a stack of misinformation, of lies. You know, like, performance enhancing drugs are a huge, huge aspect of all of that online social media influencer fitness, you know, strategy, you know, because to constantly look like you've just been cut out of a magazine day in and day out is not possible without them. Totally. You know, like, there are some, what would you say? Some people are genetically built to be able to do that, but they are very far and few between.
It's also their job.
And it's their job.
It's their job to look that good, you know? Whereas if you have a 9-to-5 job, it's going to be super hard to sustain that. And imagine a 9-to-5 job, you got kids, you got a mortgage you need to worry about, you got financial stresses, you got a relationship you're trying to balance. It's like, man, finding time to do everything is always going to be a challenge. It's always going to be a balance.
So that is a shortcut for people, you know, and I can see it in the gym when I go there. It's falling down to younger and younger and younger people, mostly men, but, you know, some women do fall into that category as well. And there are some really, really strong side effects that will be quite prevalent throughout your entire life, starting out on PEDs super young. You know, you are stunting your own endocrine system. You are, you know, and it's not like they're going to the doctor to get it done properly as well. It's all bro science, you know. It's you know, and buying these oils from unknown sources. You don't know how clean it is. You don't know how pure it is, where it's come from. You know, all of that sort of stuff. And I mean, you can just look at your body. I mean, I speak from experience here. You know, like, and this is why, you know, I'm really happy we're going into the subject, because I went through a stage of my life where I took steroids for many years in my 20s, and I was doing the bodybuilding type training, hypertrophy, all of that, all image based. I was a personal trainer at the time, and I thought, you know, to be a good personal trainer, you had to look a certain way. And when I stopped taking them when my daughter was born, so I would have been 27, and I didn't take them again. But like, reflecting on it now, it probably took me, I reckon, at least 5 years for me to really get back to homeostasis and equilibrium within myself, of them just, you know, of those processes I went through to really come out of my body, and with that comes increased anxiety, comes depressive feelings. You know, it comes with all of these other knock-on effects that, hey, look, you know, you might be looking good
and feeling amazing on it, but you do go into the blues and things like that, because once you start knocking your testosterone down, and then you're not producing it properly, or you're not doing a proper post-cycle treatment, PCT, and doing it medically, and trying to get your systems back online and doing it properly and slowly, you're going to really run into some trouble.
I've no experience with it, so
yeah,
I wouldn't even know how it feels. It'd be interesting though. I look forward to getting older so I can do TRT.
Yeah,
medically though.
Well, yeah, it's the elixir of life for men.
Yeah, for sure.
You're adding testosterone into your body. You're on, like, it's the ultimate nootropic. You feel alive, you feel confident, you take action, you recover well, you start training harder.
But you're also putting a lot of pressure on your endocrine system.
Yeah, a lot.
And that's why there's the rebound.
Yeah.
You're revving at 9,000 RPMs. So the engine's going to blow at some point for most people, unless they are doing it properly, unless they have the time, the energy, the knowledge, the education to be making sure that they're actually giving their body even the precursors to what they actually need to make testosterone.
Yeah.
It's giving yourself an exogenous source, but if we put any anabolic hormone into our body, like an exogenous hormone into our body, it's going to deplete our natural ability to make it, because the body's like, well, I don't need to put energy into that. I'm going to utilize these nutrients for other things. It's very similar to people that take melatonin. It works great, you get a great night's sleep, but when you go off it, your body's like, well, I haven't been making melatonin for the last 5 years, so it's going to take me a while to remember how to do that.
So you're going to have restless falling asleep for a long time.
For sure.
So if you're a young man or a young lady, listening to this, and it's something you're thinking about or moving into, like, really just question the reasoning why. Why? I mean, if you're not actually going to go on stage and actually utilize it to start progressing and create a career out of it, then just stay away from it. Build the patience and the tenacity and the discipline and the healthy habits of consistency that will get you to a pace of feeling good. And then and I mean, God, I reflect back on my own journey of it. I mean, it was body dysphoria, and it's not talked about in men at all. I don't think a lot.
Nope.
And then more and more so as well, it goes back into that social media influence category where we comparatively live our lives of like these people who have all these followers and they look a certain way, and then so we then will try and want to emulate that and replicate that, and so these young people that are really probably a lot more malleable than what we were, because that's the world that they are living in now, they're surrounded by it a lot more, will then jump on and go earlier and earlier and just go, it will give you the big muscle. But I mean, it's still work. I mean, you don't take it and it magically happens. Like, you still have to really train hard. You've got to be consistent. You've got to eat the right things. So I mean, man, in my 30s I've looked better than I ever did even on it, because my consistency was better, my intention was a lot better, I'd cleared up my inner shit, like
you're
the
not
reasoning.
riddled in trauma, Michael.
Yeah, the reasoning for it was completely different. So, and this is why I'm happy I spent a little bit of time on it, because even if one person hears this and they decide to just not do it, your body and your mind will be a lot more incongruence without it. You really will.
Yeah, I guess it's just acknowledging what you actually want long term, and like some people do want it. Like that's their journey. That's what they're going to go on. But it's not really for everyone, unless that's what you want to dedicate your life to. It's not needed to be able to live a better life, to be more functional, to run around with your kids, to look good. Like, yes, it takes time, it takes energy, and different people are going to form different muscles in different ways at different points of their life. Yep. It's like, for me, I've always struggled to get big biceps, always. And I even remember when I was like 18 and I was playing halfback, and my coach was like, oh, you need to get bigger arms so that you can like get the ball out quicker. And I used to train, still nothing. When I was boxing, train my arms, still wouldn't go. And it's like, it's not till now where it's like one of the only things I'm focusing on, where I'm actually starting to notice just subtle change, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like everyone's body's different, so it's
Yeah.
like it's a process of like understanding that the training does need to happen, but then just accepting that your body's going to be different, you know? My body doesn't like to hold muscle there,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, that's it. And this is also not me or us, you know, shaming or judging. It's not that. It's just speaking from experience. And if someone can learn something from my process, then great. But if you are going to go and do it, you know, great. Go into it with a full head of knowledge. Go and seek out, you know, professional medical advice and get your blood works done, and really stay on top of it and really understand what it is that you're putting into your body and the amounts, and really track your test levels and your cortisol level, all the levels, you know, like really do it properly, you know, and do it sound. And there are, you know, in this day and age, there are now clinics that you can go to that specialize in that. You can find them all around the place, even here in New Zealand, and you can get it done with expert advice. Because it's not something you want to fuck around with. You don't want to learn it from bro science. You don't want to hear it from someone and take that as gospel, you know.
Totally.
And so yeah, just do it properly, and and work hard.
That's and that sort of goes into every aspect of your health and wellness journey, right? Because, you know, it's probably a small majority of people that will be listening to this that even consider taking testosterone before.
Totally.
You know, but that ties into what's your motivation behind why you want to look a certain way. And it's like, this is a cool quote that I heard once. I was actually talking to one of my clients about it, and she said that she had a big shift for her around body dysmorphia when she was actually talking to her grandma, and her grandma noticed that she was starting to like become real critical of her body. And her grandma said, when you imagine what you look like, who do you see? And what she realized is when she imagined the way she looked, she didn't see herself. You know, she'd seen a specific person that she wanted to look like, you know. So it's like you're trying to fit your body into a box that it may not even fit. You know, your body will naturally form. Different muscles are going to grow bigger for different people. You know, if every person on the planet trained exactly the same way, there would be differences in everybody, you know, because physiologically you're going to be different, genetically you're going to be different, you're going to be slightly taller, you know. So it's like for me, fuck man, I can train my legs once a week and they still fucking grow. But I can train my biceps 4 times a week and it takes a lot of energy and effort, you know. So every person's going to form muscle differently.
And then also for females as well, you know, your time of the month is going to really impact, you know. Like when I was a personal trainer, you know, I'd have female clients come through and they would be like, oh, look, I've gained this weight and this. I'm like, you are on a beautiful female cycle, you know, like that's what's going to happen. You know, sometimes you're going to have more hormones running through your body. They're a lot heavier, you know, you're going to be holding a little bit more fluid and different things like that. So, you know, there's so many different variables that come into it. And I think what's really like hindering people now is just this image of perfection, you know, that just it's just not truly attainable in the everyday world.
For sure.
You know, like it's not. And I'm not actually here saying, you know, we shouldn't have these people who are, you know, people to you know, well, live up to, or like, you know, aspire to, you know, like 100%. I'm all for that, you know. Like, man, like the people that are looking like that, they put the dedication. It's their job. It's hard work, you know. Fucking go them, you know. Like I support them through and through. But when it comes to just, you know, fitness and for the everyday daily person who is, as you say, working, got a mortgage or paying the rent, and, you know, maybe has a family or doesn't, or whatever it is that you're doing in life, it's just what's your level of okay, and how is it that you are just wanting to feel, you know, healthy, you know, and your mirror will say it all too. You know your body. You know, like I know my body. If I've, you know, relaxed for, it only takes me about kind of like 4 to 6 weeks before I start to soften out. I'm like, oh, okay, need to dial it in a little bit more. You know, like it's because I work hard on making sure that I'm feeling good and looking good as well, because I enjoy it. You know, it makes me feel good. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, not at all. And I guess it's like looking at a longer time frame. Like most people look at it when they start a fitness journey, they might do like an 8-week challenge or 12-week challenge or something along those lines. It's like, no, look over the next 5 years, you know, because if you are wanting to lose weight, as long as it's going down over time, right, there's going to be fluctuations, there's going to be stresses in your life, there's going to be months that you may not be able to focus on it as much. But it's like, if you have the right recipe and you're doing it for the right reasons, and weight loss is your goal, which isn't a bad goal. Like, you know, a lot of the world's obese at the moment. A lot of people aren't at a healthy weight because they're not actually looking after themselves consistently, you know. But it's like, look at it over a longer time period. If you're just going to go fucking balls to the wall for 8 weeks and make yourself feel bad about it for that whole time and restrict and, you know, turn it into something that's stressful and painful, like, if your body's stressed, it's not focusing on losing weight.
Yeah.
You know, if your body's stressed about the piece of cake that you're going to eat, guess what? You can't metabolize, you know.
Yeah.
You can't metabolize when you're in your stress response.
Yeah.
It's just not how the body works, you know. So it's like you're creating a psychological attachment to something, but then you're putting more pressure on yourself to make it happen. But if you extended that time frame from 8 weeks to 8 months, like, and allowed yourself to enjoy life while building a better relationship with movement and educating yourself on food and utilizing all the different tools that are out there, like, it's going to be a lot more enjoyable. It's going to be a lot more sustainable, and you're actually going to want to carry on the journey.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be a lot more enjoyable life than being obese.
Oh, for sure.
You know, that couldn't be an enjoyable life. It would be tough.
It is for some people.
Yeah.
Would rather choose the hit of dopamine instead of the flood of endorphins.
Yeah, true. But it's I mean, even just moving into that space, I mean, it is a touchy subject in 2023, isn't it? You know,
everything's a fucking touchy subject.
I know. I mean, like, someone that you love close to you, you know, like, if I got overweight, I'd want people to tell me, you know, because if I, you know, started going through things and going into it, you know, maybe I just got comfortable and, you know, you let slip and didn't see it, and, you know, maybe a couple of things didn't quite go right in the life, and all of a sudden you're just kind of like, you know, using an external soothing mechanism of food, you know. For me, that's love, because you're just saying the things that you don't want to hear. But it's I did see something the other day. You might have seen it. It was a Calvin Klein ad, and it said, you know, 1990 and now, and it had Mark Wahlberg, you know, in his shredded days with a woman who's obviously in good shape as well, and to, like, now it was like 2 obese people and they're wearing crop tops, and, you know, like, that's the acceptance. Like, I'm all for having aspirational people who have worked hard and look good. You know, like, I'm not inspired by overweight people.
It's the rebound, though.
Yeah.
It's the rebound. It's the rebound of like years and years and years of that pressure, and people utilizing, what's the word I'm looking for? Utilizing shame as guilt as a way for people to make quick money.
Yes.
You know? And now it's the rebound. Everyone's like, fuck that, you know? But it's only the 10% of people, and the 10% of the people are the fucking loudest.
Yeah.
Because the other 90% of people don't really give a fuck. They're just trying to pay their mortgage. You know, they don't have time to worry about all the bullshit,
totally, man.
You know, they're just trying to get through life.
Yeah.
And do what little they can.
Yeah. So tell us about your what's your fitness regime look like now, and your eating habits and things, man? You're looking damn. Wow. Yeah, I was gonna say good shape, but man, like, you look healthy. I
definitely look and feel healthy.
Yeah.
It's probably the heaviest I've ever been. I have been focusing on putting on muscle, and so I'm like up to 82 kgs, and this is the heaviest I've ever been, which is great, because I still feel good. There's been times when I have put on muscle in a way that's not right for my body, and I just feel tight in all my tendons and my joints. It's like, even when we trained together, it's like your way of training's worked. I got bigger, but it wasn't for me. Totally. Because I don't feel good in my body. But in the way in which I'm training now, I feel really good in my body. Yeah. And I don't feel like I've put on muscle. Yeah. Which is great.
Yeah, I don't even train like that really anymore.
Yeah, because you just Rolling, bro.
Just rolling. And
Rolling, bro. Choking out peeps.
Yeah.
Getting donged in the face.
Yeah, it's good fun. I did get a few kicks to the head today. And what does your food look like, man? What's your, dare I say, diet?
How do you eat? It's more flexible than it ever has been before. I've definitely introduced a lot more meat back into my diet, but still eat vegetarian meals throughout the week. It's not like I'm eating meat every single day, but it would be most days. And so like I can definitely tell that that's helped, just simply because it's so much easier to get in more calories.
Yeah.
Like so much easier to get in more calories. When I've tried to bulk or put on muscle when I was vegan, it was like, fuck man, I was so full all the time. But now, it's just more dense, a little bit more higher protein, a lot easier. And it's just working for me in this point in my life. I was looking at it the other day because my gut was feeling a bit heavy. It was actually when we were on mushrooms.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, man, maybe I need to stop eating meat again. And then my body was like, that's all the fucking crocodiles you eat, mate. And I was like, God damn it!
You don't know what a crocodile is. Crocodiles is lolly.
Yeah, for sure.
That Ryan's addicted to. A little pleasure though.
Oh, for sure. But it's like I don't want to be in a point in my life where I don't allow myself to enjoy food.
Totally,
because like for me, I want to look good, but I'm not gonna let that be the only focus of like let aesthetics be the only focus for why I move.
Yep.
So yeah, feeling good, looking good.
Or to be in Hollywood.
Or to be in Hollywood.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's cool, because your body will just morph and change into what you want to do with it. Like it really is malleable. I'm watching my body change at the moment. Like I'm the lightest I've ever been, and probably since I was like a teenager, man. My early 20s. But my strength's still right up there. But just switching to
different type of strength, eh?
Yeah, just switching to this MMA fight camp, and yeah, I just throw in a heavy weight session, once or twice a week. Sometimes not even that, and it feels really, really good, But it's really interesting because there's still and I think there always will be a burned-in thing in my memory, in my mind, from going through all those bodybuilder type style days of oh, you're getting small, man. Oh, you gotta yeah, or someone will be like, oh man, man, you're looking skinny, and that word's such a trigger, to a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay, thanks, But I know they mean you lost weight,
For sure.
It's not something that triggers me, but it's still
but it's still there. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's just seeing that there, and
it's easy to be self-critical.
Yeah.
Especially if you've I don't know. It's just a psychological thing because I'm the same. It's man, I've always wanted to have a six-pack. Never achieved it. Even how hard I've tried, never achieved it. And it's it's still a thing. I'm like, I got a belly that sort of sits out a little bit. That's all good.
Yeah, totally.
It is what it is. And I train it hard. I work my abs every single week.
Yep.
My core is strong.
Yeah.
But it's just you just got to reside in that fact. The only time I've considered it, I'm like, man, maybe I just want to do a fucking a comp and just see if it even gets me a six-pack. But then I'm like, I can't be fucked up, man. I ain't got the time for that. I ain't meal prepping.
No, exactly.
That ain't worth it.
Yeah, totally, man. It's but it's just catching those little things, because they're just old stories. They're old creations.
And if we got it, imagine how much other people still got it as well.
Yeah, totally. It's but it's also still I use it as still a slight of a driver.
For sure.
Because I'll get to a little point, I might have just relaxed a little bit. And it's oh man, look at that. I'm like, oh, all right, lighten up now.
Summer's coming, Mike.
Oh God, I don't do that anymore. Life's all round. I'd like to look good all round, feel good all round.
Yeah. What about supplements? Because there's lots that you could go into supplementation because it's such a huge industry. I mean, it's one of I think it's a $23 trillion a year industry or something along those $23 billion a year industry.
It's huge, man. It's huge, and there's just more and more things coming out every day.
And it's because we are in the supplement industry, and we're always looking at things. I'm always looking at competitors online and seeing what they're doing. So it's my Instagram and Facebook is just flooded. Constantly with supplement ads, and you see ones pop up and then they'll disappear, and other ones will pop up, and it's
noisy.
Yeah, super noisy, and it's like, yeah. I mean, I don't like to say this because I'm not trying to bag other companies and like not trying to speak up beta, but it's like even just from a naturopathic perspective, I always go in and I'll have a look at what people have in their products, and it's like, man, there's people out there just selling you an idea, because what they're actually putting in it, there's no substantial evidence around the quantities that they're using.
Yep.
You know, like gummies are a huge thing in New Zealand at the moment, but it's like, man, you can't fit a therapeutic dose of anything into a gummy.
No. So
it's like you'd literally have to take 20 to actually feel any effect from it.
Yeah.
But people just buy them and eat them up and see them as a like a new craze, you know. And a lot of the bigger supplement companies, that's a lot of what they focus on, a lot of what they do.
Yep. Yeah, that fast moving.
That's it.
You know, $20 price tag goods, just get them out.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one.
And then you've got companies like us who are focusing on quality and quantity and, you know, getting a therapeutic dose of every ingredient in there. And people are like, oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
How much per serve?
Yeah. Yeah. But then the people that know are like, you guys are doing God's work.
Totally. And then that's it. It's like the naturopath that came and had a look, and she was like, God damn, I wish I could create products like this. And I'm like,
that's it. Well, we're out here doing it. It's, yeah, it is quite scary, you know, like when you do start looking into the backs of what these products are. And like food, the same thing, you know, like, I mean, I remember when my daughter was born, and I was a PT back then, I'd done my nutrition cert. And when we started putting her onto baby food, I was looking in the back of baby foods and I was just horrified, man, about what fucking sugar amounts, what sodium amounts, like all the nasty things that they were putting in there. And I ended up finding a couple of more, you know, organic, natural ones that I bought for her. But it's the same thing, you know. Like it comes down to like making consumers so confused. They don't know what they're looking at. You know, the marketing is spying or selling them into the awareness of, oh, that's going to do that for me. But then if there's 0.1 of a gram of that thing that's in there, you're not getting any effects of it. But yeah, supplements, I haven't really taken fitness supplements in a long time. It just hasn't. I think protein, I think, is a good, it's a convenient way to get some extra in if you're not able to get it from your food. But then again, there's so many levels of quality of protein as well, you know. And then I think it's not a new craze, but it's certainly becoming a much bigger market, is the pea proteins and the plant proteins coming through, and for some people that can really irritate your guts as well, you know, going through that. But then same with the whey, you know, if you've got a terrible,
I cannot eat whey.
Yeah, you can't. I
can't.
Yeah,
it's not good for the household.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah. So I think supplements wise, there's a few fundamentals that, you know, if you are training and working out or got an active lifestyle, there's a few. So creatine monohydrate, you know, just find a nice pure source of creatine monohydrate. It's not that expensive either.
No way.
And that's really, that'll just help give you your extra boosts and energy in what you are doing, you know. So
lots of clinical trials, muscle growth, muscle retention, recovery, even mental health.
Yeah.
One gram of creatine monohydrate a day has been shown to be just as effective for some people as SSRIs.
Yeah. So we've got in our mitochondria, in our muscle movement systems, you know, when we're actually moving. So we've got it's called ATP-PC, amino triphosphate creatine.
Yeah.
And so we can't store extra creatine in our body, and so that's why taking a creatine supplement daily gives you those extra bits of creatine. So it gives you that extra little, you know, I'm talking lifting weights here, it'll give you that extra last couple of pumps and reps while you can still activate your muscles there. So that's going to be a really good baseline supplement to have.
What about BCAAs?
Yeah, so branched chain amino acids or just EAAs, you know, essential amino acids. They're always going to be good, especially if you have an active lifestyle and you sweat a lot and, you know, you're not adding, maybe you're touchy on salt or something as well, so so all those
more minerals, right? And getting potassium, sodium into the body and into the bloodstream so that the Krebs cycle can work.
Correct.
ATP, bro, energy production.
Yeah, exactly. And so a good branch chain amino acid. Now look at a good one too, because there's some that have some really nasty like sugars in there and sodiums in there, and because they've got a different flavor profiling in there, it can be just a really a pharmaceutical grade BCAA, and that doesn't actually really taste like anything. Same as creatine, so you can actually just drink it with water and it just tastes like you're drinking like a heavy water, or an amino acid. Same thing, that's always going to be good, and especially if you are doing some quite really strenuous activity, it'll just help replenish your fluids faster and just keep your muscles nice and healthy. Now, we talked about it before, a protein. Now, if you are struggling to get some good protein sources from your food, this is a really simple and fast and effective way to be able to add the protein into your system. I think it's excuse me, grossly overused of how much protein we actually need in our body. I think I saw someone say the other day, you need was it 1 gram per 3 kilos of muscle or something like that, or might be the other way around. I can't remember what I said.
Other way around.
Yeah. But me personally, I still grow my muscles quite well, and I'm not anywhere near that anymore. I mean, I haven't drunk protein in a long time. I get it all from my food.
Different strokes for different folks.
Totally.
For different goals.
Yep, for sure. So this is whatever works for you, and it's just trialing and erring, But outside of that, a bit of salted water and keeping your fluid and good healthy water during the day, you don't really need any other supplements apart from that. I mean, if you like a bit of caffeine, a little bit of caffeine before you train is actually been known and clinically tested to give you some really good stimulant. Or you could just grab a bag of our Focus, and that's going to really give you a really nice mind to muscle connection.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, and even with Focus, right? It's not needed for most people, but it's one of those things that's going to give you the edge, and where it's not putting stress on your adrenals and things like that. It's not taking anything from the body or creating a mechanism or giving your body anything. It's just like, no, I'm focusing on all the other aspects of my life. Instead of caffeine, I want something that's going to give me a cleaner, more rounded energy,
Something that I would suggest moving away from would be the pre-workouts. They are just full of chemicals, full of just absolute adrenaline-filled, adenosine-touching, nervous system peaking things that excuse me, something that would just blow you up. They're incredibly fucking strong. I remember when they first started really coming out, but it was had the real deals in it. They were full on, and now they've just, those chemicals got banned, and so then they replicate it with another one, and they get banned, and they replicate another one until it's like there's this copy of a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy with all these other beta-alanine and all these other taurine and caffeine and every ene in it, and then imagine taking that at 9 o'clock at night and training and then trying to sleep. Oh, I used to. I don't know how I did it.
No.
I'm not a fan of beta-alanine anyways, like those
man.
itchy spots and things like that. But again, on the other side of someone who used to, I can see the draw for it as well, because it does make you fucking revved up, if you really wanted to push some heavy weights and, you really want to get psyched up for it. Yeah, definitely. But I still remember even taking it, and I still didn't have those types of sessions, but I was still taking it. I could have had the same session without it.
Yeah.
So, it's just one of those things. Like, if you are serious about your movement and things like that, then maybe just have it as in your tool belt for if you need it. Yeah. But apart from that, man, there's a whole world of supplements that people can sell you out there. Glutamine, and I mean, glutamine's probably a pretty good one as well to potentially add into your daily schedule.
Totally. There's definitely a few you could take, but it's like, yeah, most things you would get from food, except for the things that you get from herbs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I was having a conversation with the lady. She was like, I can get everything I need from food. It's like, well, you can get everything you need from food when it comes to a lot of the interactions in the body. But it's like, if you wanted to get the things that your body doesn't quite need to stay alive, but can utilize to function at a higher level. So why would you not put that in your body?
Yeah.
You know, why would you not try to get a little bit of an edge?
Totally.
You know, and it's like, every single person is going to be different. There's not one client that I've ever had that I've given them the exact same supplements for, because different people need different things at different times.
Yep.
You know, if there's different nutrient deficiencies, the body's going to communicate in different ways. And it's just like utilizing supplements because they are there to supplement. You know, we're not meant to be taking them all of the time. It's like, okay, cool. Supplement that when you need it. Supplement this when you need it. Switch out this. Switch out that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's smart. Just reflecting back, you know, like if this came across a bit negative to you, it's not supposed to be that intention. It's not a negative context. I think it's just a bit of reality from my own experience, really.
Yeah,
that's kind of it.
Education, so that people don't have their own, go through the same pitfalls that we have.
Yeah, totally.
You know.
But you know what? At the end of the day, go out there and try things. See what works for you. You know, like just be attentive of what you're taking.
For sure.
Understand what it is. Ask the questions to the people and the professionals. You know, really understand what it is that you're taking. And if it's making you feel a bit crap, then maybe not take it.
For sure.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, just if you want to get support, if you want to get help, go out there and do it. If someone reaches out to you in the DMs and tries to offer you help, tell them to fuck off. Because I guarantee there's a sales process that they're gonna put you through.
Yeah.
You know, I guarantee they're gonna play into your pains to make you feel like you need to, and you know, ultimately try to push you through something probably even faster than is healthy and safe. Simply though, they can get a before and after, and you leave, and they don't give a fuck about the rebound.
Yeah. You look after yourselves out there, peeps. You know, and just stay healthy. You know. Just try and do what you can do when you can do it, you know. And consistency is going to trump anything and everything. Consistency will trump it. If you can be consistent on something over the course of time, that's where you're going to start getting the results you seek, and for longer. It's not going to be a yo-yo effect.
For sure. And it's like that's one of the what's the guy's name? Does the Atomic Habit? What's his name? James Clear. That's something he speaks about when it comes to it. When it comes to adopting a new habit, it's like, write it down, put it in your schedule, pick a time you're going to do it, and then get in the habit of showing up to that appointment.
Yep.
You know, because if you're like, I won't do it today, I'll push it back, it's like you're just reinforcing that habit of pushing things back.
Yep.
You know, so even if you don't have time, you run out of time, you may oversleep by 30 minutes, go to the gym for 15.
Yeah.
You know, because you're going to get into that habit of showing up for yourself, and that can be the hardest thing for people. That can be the biggest hurdle that they need to overcome, is actually dedicating time to themselves, dedicating time to their own well-being, especially for fathers, mothers. They can feel selfish.
Yeah,
you know, because they feel like they're taking time and energy away from their families. But it's like, man, if you're not focusing on yourself and you're stressed out and you're resentful, then are you even going to be present with those family members anyway?
Yep. Beautiful. Some great advice, man. Love it. Well, let's leave it there, shall we?
Yes, sir.
Beautiful episode. Thank you guys for listening. And yeah, tune in next week. We've always got fresh new ones coming up, and very excited to be seeing the end of this year out with you all, because we've been together for the whole year.
Soon to be.
Oh,
yes.
Exciting one. Awesome team. We love you. See you next week.
Bye.